Y'all ready for that brand new marathon game? I know I'm not. There was a point in time whenever Bungie would be doing something, okay? If I heard rumblings that they were working on something, I would have been salivating. These are the guys that brought you Halo, okay? These are the guys that made Master Chief an icon, revolutionized the console shooter, revolutionized FPS, if we're being completely honest. It's that same type of step that id Software with Wolfenstein and Doom did. I don't think I'm being terribly hyperbolic. That entire studio, okay? Marty McDonald's sound design and his compositions are as iconic as the gameplay that those guys back in the cut were slaving over. But now you take a look at what Bungie has done, like, over the past, decade and a half. It's, it ain't it. Okay, after thousands of hours in Destiny, I had serious concerns about Bungie's marathon reboot. Oh, God, yeah, because there's another thing, right? Because when Bungie, when they were first acquired by Activision, when they left Microsoft, okay, yeah, came over to Activision to work on Destiny, people had big hopes for this. Oh my God, Bungie is going to be unshackled. We're going to be able to play a Bungie shooter on PlayStation. Oh my God, they've said goodbye. They've learned everything that they could working on the Halo IP, and then they're going to be doing something totally different, but still, at least, it's got that Bungie flair to it. This is going to be awesome, and oh my God, what the hell is that? There's very few big IPs like that, okay, that still went on to succeed, obviously, or outside of the, the one comparison that we're going to be making here very shortly, but just shit that was hyped to the moon, but then the moment that it came out, just flopped so hard that they had to do a whole reboot. And then eventually it's like, I know there were a bunch of people playing like Destiny 2 and all that stuff, but it's just from something that was hyped to the moon and back that had everybody excited only for it to be a gigantic letdown. Like, hell, they had Peter Dinklage voice that Monitor, and he put in one of the most uninspired voice performances that still gets referenced to this very day. And then it ended up getting dubbed over and redone by somebody else. It was that bad. That's a microcosm, to pull on a previous video from earlier today, of just that series right there. So seeing how a Destiny 1 had everybody captivated to where the franchise is at right now, what was it? Didn't it wrap up? Destiny 2, all of its new content wrapped up last year, and we haven't heard word on Destiny 3 or what the future of the franchise is. But no, it's all hands on deck for Marathon, which is, well, according to PC Gamer, okay, I've played it. My worry isn't whether or not it will be good. They just want to know how good it's going to be. And where have we seen these talking points before? All right, that would be for Concord, Sony's next multiplayer shooter, which is what Marathon is going to be. Now, will release on PC this August. It comes from ex-Destiny 2 devs. Oh, okay, so the people that shat the bed with the Destiny franchise went to go work on Concord, and it flopped spectacularly, but that's all right, because Concord, I played 7 hours of Concord this weekend and immediately want back in. Yeah, kind of harkens back to the whole, I played Marathon, and it's not my worry about whether or not it will be good. It's going to be great, because Concord was great, and fuck, man, it's a mess. It is an absolute mess, and we talked about, a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff on this in a previous video earlier this week, but the game also caught the attention of one Asmongold. Zach himself chimed in on this, and this is a reason why, when it comes to these talking heads, these internet streamers that are out there, there's a big gap in talent and honesty, if we're being 10 toes down on this. A lot of people pussyfoot, but Asmongold, he's going to tell it the way that he is, the way that it is, rather, and the way that he sees it. And I respect him for that. He's not somebody that I'm going to go to whenever, I want a second opinion on something, but whenever I hear it, it's generally refreshing. And his take on Marathon is a pretty obvious, but a pretty needed take. Asmongold thinks Marathon needs to make sure all of the female characters in the game are fuckable, because it's a shooter game primarily made for men. I mean, we have examples of other games, not just shooters, Stellar Blade, a action Souls-like game that would have been otherwise forgettable if not for people gooning all over Eve. That's the way that it is. Like, Black Myth Wukong would have came in and just absolutely trounced that game, and it would have got a PC release if it didn't have the jiggle physics on that bitch the way that it did. That just, hey man, Put it this way, even if you think the game would have been good, which is whatever, soundtrack is AIDS and the gameplay looked generic as fuck, but whatever, if you liked it, you liked it, and look forward to the PC release, and you can just go ahead and mod it to your heart's content. With that type of action-adventure combat game with a female lead, how many other Sweet Baby Inc. inspired games with a strong black female protagonist came out in 2024 that flopped immediately? Yeah, very interesting. You got your Flintlocks, you got your Unknown 9 Awakenings. Hell, one that came out earlier this year that obviously does, at least I don't think has Sweet Baby Inc., but at least for Sweet Baby Inc. people used to work at the studio that put it out. You got Assassin's Creed Shadows with girl boss Naoe, or Naoe rather, and nobody's given that game the time of day, but trust me bro, it's the second most successful game that came out in March. Just don't ask what's in first place and what the gap between first and second place is, but trust me, it's super popular. But off rip, if you're trying to sell a game, have good character design. Okay, first of all, have a good gameplay loop. We've seen gameplay of this, and it looks rougher than a trans woman's chin at the end of the day. But this really is shorthand, okay? Like, just making attractive characters. There's a big reason why everybody gave Marvel Rivals a shot. It's because you take a look at that stylization, and it's very complementary to certain designs, and well, it just so happened to also have a very catchy gameplay loop, and that's why it's still intensely popular. The First Descendant, a lot of those gacha games also have, a similar aesthetic, and when you do that, you don't have to be recommended a game with the caveat of, yeah, I know it looks a little bit goofy, but the game is fun to play. No, it's just a full-throated endorsement if the game is good, and if not, hey man, it's got some gifable and shareable images. I would prefer a marriage between mechanics and aesthetics, but if you can only have one and you're just simply in the business of making as much money as possible, yeah, just make like Asmongold says here, and let's listen to this 50-second clip, because I'd imagine our boys got a little bit more insight than that.
I think that pretty much every single circumstance, it's always a bad idea to make characters that are not conventionally attractive.
Yeah.
Because this is, again, this is a shooter game, and shooter games are going to be primarily played by men. Yeah. So if you're making a shooter game that's primarily made for men, then you should make sure that all of the female characters in the game are fuckable. And I know this might sound crazy to say, but I'm just going to say it.
No, he's 1,000% true. And even what he was talking about beforehand, yeah, you need to have attractive characters. I mean, there's a reason that Master Chief wasn't packing away a gut underneath his Spartan armor. It's because you want aspirational male characters, because nobody wants to play as a loser. Nobody's rooting for the guy who's got social anxiety and you really hope that he can, beat the guy at the end of the day because, oh my God, look at him. He's just like me. He's got to take a handful of pills to wake up in the morning. Nobody wants to play that story. You might live that life. I hope you don't. Hopefully you're improving your station every single day. And that's not to say that you can't have complex characters with issues, but when given the choice, you want to have the character that Tetsuya Nomura would go ahead and create. Like, what was his design philosophy? Like, if I wanted to see ugly people, I just go around and walk around. I just go walk around outside, okay? I make characters that look cool because I want to play as cool characters, and it's worked well for him. So what else does Zach have to say?
That's what you should do. That's what you should do, because that's what people want to do. That's what girls will cosplay. Girls don't want to cosplay ugly, weird-looking, androgynous, creepy characters.
Yo, that's facts, okay? Because I haven't been to too many gaming conventions. I've been to a couple, but I can count on one hand the number of chicks in full body armor that I've ever seen. And by one hand, I mean one finger. And I could also count on my hands, your feet, my feet, the number of chicks that I've seen in Mad Moxie cosplays, in Harley Quinn cosplays, okay? Hoes are gonna hoe no matter the medium, and they'd rather do it showing as much skin as possible, getting the most attention as possible, instead of going, wow, dude, I really dig your, oh shit, you're a chick, good work on the armor. And generally speaking, if they aren't land whales themselves and they're cosplaying, they're taking artistic liberty with a lot of the armor, okay? There's a lot of boob armor, there's not a lot of torso armor, if you know what I'm talking about.
And all of that, like, think about how much advertising Marvel Rivals gets because of how many girls try to cosplay the characters.
Yo, facts.
I think
Facts. 1000% facts. Like, the man's is not wrong, and he even got, like, I got this pulled up. It's the official marathon intel count. Okay, Asmongold thinks, yes, women need to be fuckable. This game is primarily made for men. And I mean, you got Geralt of Goonie up popping this up. Okay, you got Marvel Rivals as an example, comparing that to whatever the blue hell Concord was trying to push there. And yeah, marathon just with these weird looking alien androgynous bullshit characters. Like, Bungie, you used to do really good and really awesome character design. Cortana, Chief, Commander and Miranda Keys, Sergeant Johnson, like, even with a limited scope of uniforms that you had, they were all very distinctive and distinguished characters that were, yeah, competent and conventionally attractive. That's what people want to play as. A bunch of freaks in a small corner of the internet want to be able to see themselves represented. We need wheelchairs in D&D. But the people that actually play this stuff, the silent majority, when you do shit like what Bungie is doing with Marathon, they're going to be exceptionally silent when it comes to the cash register in regards to your game. But Asmongold, yeah, getting a little bit of pushback. Getting a little bit of pushback for being 100% honest. Twitch streamer Asmongold shared his thoughts on Bungie's upcoming Marathon game, and specifically the game's character designs. Yes, we talked about that. During a recent stream, he said what he said in the clip and was 1,000,000,000% right. Well, Asmongold is correct in his assertion that most games should want aesthetically pleasing characters for players to play. That the ones that Marathon are not. He still falls into the liberal trap of wanting female characters in shooter games to be that players would be interested in having female characters in their shooter games. What? Yeah, you're playing a hero shooter in a fantastical land, but that's a liberal trap? Oh my god, these Bible thumpers, man. Most popular shooters never had female characters until activists started infiltrating the... Yo, man, this is fucking wild. Yeah, similarly, Halo never had playable female characters, but who's the character that had the most talking lines in the first 3 Halo games? Oh, right, yeah, Cortana. Just go ahead and diminish that, right? Call of Duty didn't introduce female playable characters until 2013. Name me a character that's not, Captain McTavish in Call of Duty. You can't. It just has a catchy as the clap gameplay loop. But you can sure as fuck name me a bunch of successful franchises that thrived and survived off of the back of some pixelated titties. Tomb Raider, Blood Rain, hell, every fighting game franchise that's out there. It's a liberal trap to want to have, chicks like Chun-Li, Melina, Mai Shiranui. Fucking dorks, man. Asmongold is living in the world the way that it is, not the way that you want it to be, not this 1950s a trad utopia or this non-existent modern-day slop pogrom. Marathon is going to fail, and trad cucks are going to continue to fail, and honestly, both for very legitimate reasons. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.